Good morning. Welcome to JP's Morning Brief for April 2nd, 2026. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Morning Brief. It may be a little brief this morning, but that's all right. I hope everyone had a good evening. Went to church yesterday evening, like I usually do on Wednesdays. Came home and watched the presidential speech. I was impressed. It was pretty good. The thing went almost 20 minutes. He said 20, and he gave 20. That was good. I wasn't impressed with the price of oil this morning. We'll see. When I do my Iran update in a few minutes, you'll see that too. Um, but the really cool thing that happened yesterday was the Artemis 2 rocket launch. That was quite impressive. If you know me, I mean, there's a few people that are on the podcast that actually know who I am, and they know I love astronomy and science. I love it to death, and that's really cool. I'm always watching SpaceX online and uh, the starships when they go up. Like I'm waiting for April 9th. If you didn't know, April 9th is the scheduled launch date. The ship 12, and it's supposed to be in the Victor 3 rocket on there. It's going to be cool. Uh, what really cool thing is uh, the if it goes up um, on April 9th, like it's scheduled to, Artemis 2 will still be in space when Ship 12 goes up, which is going to be pretty cool. All right, so hey, welcome to the podcast. If you are not already a follower, please click that follow button for me. Okay, got another follower yesterday. Awesome. All right, it's all really cool with me. Please click that like button for the podcast this morning. And then feel free to chat with me. We got a few people online right now. Chat. I'll either type something out real quick if I can, or I'll just engage you through the camera. No big deal. Usually have Richard and Rob on here. I know Rob won't be on this morning because his wife has a doctor's appointment. So pray for her. It's not really serious, but no, it's not. But it's a routine thing. But yeah, but they have to be at a doctor's office at 8 o'clock in this morning, and it's raining out here in Central Texas for the first time in almost a month. Um, we already got like close to 15/100ths of an inch of rain. All right. So that being said, let's do this. America 250. I'm going to read one page, and I'll save the rest for the afternoon JPA report. All right. So this is the letter from George Mason to General George Washington on April 2nd, 1776. All right. So it says, Dear Sir, we have just received welcome news of your having, with so much address and success, dislodged the ministerial troops and taken possession of the town of Boston. I congratulate you most sincerely upon your glorious and important event, an event which will render General Washington's name immortal in the annals of America, endear his memory to the latest posterity, and entitle him to those things which heaven appointed the reward of public virtue. It is common opinion here that we shall have a visit from General Howe in some of the middle or southern colonies, but it does not seem well founded. I'm very unable to judge of military affairs, but it appears to me that if General Howe acts the part of a wise man and an experienced officer, he will not venture a sickly, worn out, disgusted, and disgraced army in a country where he must meet immediate opposition and where any misfortune might produce a mutiny or a general desertion. I think it much more probable that he will retire to Halifax, give his troops a little time by ease and refreshment to recover their spirits and be in readiness as soon as the season permits. I believe to relieve Quebec. Keeping some ships of war cruising off Boston Harbor to protect the direct transports which may arrive. New York or any other northern United provinces are too near to Cambridge, for if he could not maintain the advantageous and strongly fortified posts of Boston, what reasonable hope has he of maintaining a new one in the face of a superior army? You will perhaps smile at these speculative and idle suggestions upon a subject which you will probably be reduced to a certainty one way or another long before this reaches your hands. But when I am conversing with you, the many agreeable hours we have spent together recur upon my mind. I fancy myself under your hospitable roof at Mount Vernon and lay aside reserve. May God grant us a return of those halcyon days when every man may sit down at his own under the shade of his own vine and his own fig tree and enjoy the sweets of domestic life. Or if this is too much, may he be pleased to inspire us with the spirit and resolution to bear your present and future sufferings, becoming men determined to transmit to our posterity unimpaired in with the blessings we have received from our ancestors. Okay, so that's the first page. I'm going to read the rest of it tomorrow. I love that first paragraph. You know what? I'm going to have to cut a short on that one when I get done here. That was really cool. All right. Don't have anything from the Dalmatian this morning. I'm so impressed with that rocket launcher. So that was really cool. So let's do this. Right now, live. We have 7 people on live. Okay, that I can see. I know people got privacy settings, so they don't really allow them to be seen. But since in honor of the Artemis 2 going up, put an American flag in there because there it is. There we go. Because we're Americans, and this is what we do, and we're the only country so far that's ever stepped foot on the moon. And don't give me that junk out there like we didn't really go to the moon. Everything was in a movie studio. No, we went to the moon. I don't buy that argument, not one iota. Okay, but we're the only country that's ever been to the moon and back, and we're going to do it again within the next 2 years. And hopefully we'll still beat everybody to the moon for the return trip, right? All right, but that was really, really cool. Hold on, I got to write one thing here. All right, so for the Dalmatian, I have not received. There has not been anything posted from the Dalmatian since the 12th of March. So it's been almost a month. They said it will be a month or two before Steve is ready to go back on the grill. So hopefully it's pretty soon. And I'm working with a gun shop that I'm going to put them on here. I'm going to switch them up. Okay, it's called the Armament Shop. It's here in Copper's Cove, and he has a FFL. He's a veteran. His name's Jason. He's an awesome person, okay? But you'll see when I finally get them, I'm having them do a small script that I can read, a 30-second one, so we can push it out so we know what we're talking about, right? All right, so onward to the Iran update for Operation Epic Fury. Come on, guys, give me some American flags. Come on. Especially for us in Iran. Come on. We're doing really good there. So Iran's foreign minister is severely injured in an air assault. Bombing run. His name is Kamal Karazi, and his wife was killed. The house was destroyed, and he was severely injured. And you see him on TV a lot. So he's more of a moderate, but Um, he didn't want a deal, so we had to take care of that. We almost tried to let him look for his 72 virgins that he's not going to find. Uh, the European Union says fuel prices will not fall quickly. I guess they got that crystal ball going since they don't want to help us militarily. You know what will cause prices to fall quickly? Warships from NATO patrolling the Strait of Hormuz will cause fuel prices to drop lower because it will allow for the peaceful transition of oil tankers through the Strait of Hormuz. Yeah, a little bit of friendly advice there, right? Did you know the Strait of Hormuz was named after a hermit kingdom from 500 years ago that controlled the Strait of Hormuz, the passage strait there from the Persian Gulf to the Arabian Sea. I don't, and it just disappeared. So I don't know if it became part of the Emirates, the UAE, or part of Oman, because Oman controls the south side of the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran controls the north side of the Strait of Hormuz. Just give you a little bit of geography class there. All right. Um, so let's see. A joint Iranian and Hezbollah missile attack occurred on on Israel yesterday. Iran's inflation rate, and I don't want to hear about our inflation rate being so high. So Iran's inflation rate is running an annual rate of 50.6%. There would be a revolution in our country if our inflation rate was that high. Dozens of A-10s are alert for deployment to the Middle East. I don't know how true that is because I think they're all stationed at Mountain Davis Air Force Base in Tucson, but that would take a while to get those out there. Uh, Former President Hassan Rouhani says Iran needs fundamental reform. France says China must do more at the Strait of Hormuz. There again, how about the country of France do more at the Strait of Hormuz, right? The United Arab Emirates rejects the Wall Street Journal article that it was lobbying efforts to force the Strait of Hormuz open. And then the Ayatollah Mojtaba Khomeini, the third spiritual leader, right, reaffirms support for Hezbollah. Hey, but look at it like this. We have not seen a live video of Khomeini ever since he was injured on the initial day of the strike. So we need to see a proof of life. An X or a tweet, whatever you want to call it, does not apply in this instance. We need to see moving video. If he's got to put a newspaper in front of him showing the date on it, hey, let's do it. I'll do it myself. Look, proof of life. This is from March 18th, 2 weeks ago. But I'm still alive on April 2nd. All right. Just a joke. Okay. And then to date, there's been 12,300 targets hit by U.S. forces. Brent crude this morning was trading at $108.53 a barrel. West Texas Intermediate was at $107.24 a barrel. That's up like almost $10 a barrel since yesterday afternoon. And then the Dow Jones closed yesterday at 46,565 and 74 cents. That was up 224.23. So that is your Iran update for April 2nd. Now let's do the rest of this before we sign off until noon. We are at 6:45. All right. we will do that. Okay, so I have a letter from the current president of Iran. His name is Masoud Perezeshkan. Perezeshkan. Okay, so the deal is Iranian president alleges U.S. acting as a proxy for Israel in an open letter to Americans. Okay, so the Iranian president Masoud uh, Perezeshkan urged the American public to question the purpose of a potential war with Iran in an open letter released Wednesday by Press TV. Iran, and I hope you're sitting down or not drinking something when I tell you this, Iran has never in its modern history chosen the path of aggression, expansion, colonialism, or dominion or domination. Uh, Perezeshkan wrote. He added that Iranians harbor no enmity toward other nations. This is so hard to read, uh, including the people of America, arguing that portraying Iran as a threat is the product of political and economic whims of the powerful. This raises a fundamental question. Exactly which of the American people's interests are truly being served by this war? He asked in the letter. Prejikon also alleges that the United States was acting on Israel's behalf in its conflict with Iran. And then he says, it is not also the case of America has entered this aggression as a proxy for Israel, influenced and manipulated by that regime. He wrote, warning that the attacks on infrastructure and continued military action would only increase instability and human suffering. Continuing along the path of confrontation is more costly than the futile than ever before, he added. That is a piece of trash. If it wasn't for it being news and being a sample of what we're facing, Iran has never in its modern history chosen a path of aggression, expansion, colonialism, and domination. Has never chosen a path of aggression. So in 2008, when I knew Major Rogers that was killed, Major Captain Norman, when he was killed by EFPs, when PFC Hicks when he was killed in May of 2008 by EFPs, which were all designed and built in Iranian factories, right? And given to the Josh al-Mahdi army in Iraq under Muqtada al-Sadr, when um, mortars rained down on my fob where I was at in Baghdad, in Sadr City, when a mortar that we traced the tail fin because we recovered it after it blew up missed me because I just happened to get in a bunker by 10 feet. They have no, what do they call it? No path of aggression or colonialism. He is full of it. He is totally full of it. If we make that island, if we make that country glow right now, I won't harbor a single tear over that country at all. All right. So before we get to the rest of it, let's see. So there appears to be a deal in Congress for the Department of Homeland Security, and it looks like what I was suggesting: pass the stupid bill, and then do a reconciliation bill, and then fund the rest of it. Do not capitulate to the Democrats. That's exactly what's going to happen. Okay, so under the deal, so Republican leaders are rallying around President Trump's new approach to end a 47-day DHS funding lapse, a plan that could make the agency shut down foolproof for the rest of Trump's term. Uh, House Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune on Wednesday that the DHS will be funded along two parallel tracks, meaning that the president's immigration and border security agenda will receive an influx of money through a party line reconciliation bill. The rest of DHS will be funded through a normal appropriations process. We operated under a belief that our country is in the midst of an international armed conflict. Democrats might finally come to their senses and understand that defunding our Homeland Security agencies is beyond reckless and very dangerous. Johnson and Thune wrote in a joint statement. We cannot allow Democrats any longer to put the safety of the American public at risk through their open border policies. So we are taking that off the table. The GOP leaders' forthcoming budget reconciliation pageant will include 3 years of immigration enforcement and border security funding. That could prevent Democrats from using the appropriations process as leverage over the president's immigration agenda for the rest of his term. That would even take it off the table for the upcoming midterm elections also. All right? That's a good move. The GOP leaders' budget reconciliation push comes as Republicans' efforts to fund immigration and customs enforcement and U.S. Customs and Border Protection through the regular order have been stalled in the Senate due to widespread opposition from the Democrats. With the Senate's 60-vote legislation threshold in place, Senate Minority Leader Chucky Schumer effectively has veto power over DHS appropriations if he keeps his caucus in line. To end the stalemate, Trump asked Republicans Wednesday, which was yesterday, to draft the budget reconciliation package funding immigration enforcement and border security that would pass both chambers without any Democrat support. We are going to work as fast and as focused as possible to replenish our border and ICE agents, and the radical left Democrats won't be able to stop us, Trump wrote on Truth Social. We will not allow them to hurt the families of these great patriots by defunding them. The president added that he wants the legislation on his desk by June 1st. Cool, right? For 2 months. What are those ICE agents? They're not ICE agents, the ICE staffers are going to do between now and June 1st, unless the payment that they were talking about for under the emergency executive order included them also. That would be cool. The budget reconciliation process would allow Republicans to steer around Democrats' opposition and pass the DHS funding bill at a simple majority threshold. Republicans narrowly passed One Big Beautiful Bill using reconciliation in June 2025. And what time is it? 6:54. All right. That was pretty cool. I would also include in the reconciliation the $200 billion we need for the Pentagon to replenish ammunition stores that we've used in Iran. So that would be good too. All right. So we got 5 minutes. Wow. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to do all this. So I'm going to cover some of this now and the rest. So the president said Iran is no longer bully of the Mideast after U.S. military strikes. He said this last night. President Trump on Wednesday said U.S. military strikes have dismantled Iran's military capabilities, declaring Iran is no longer the bully of the Middle East amid a looming nuclear threat. In remarks outlining Operation Epic Fury, Trump said Iran has been right at the doorstep of developing a nuclear weapon, and argued that years of warnings meant little without action. He's absolutely correct. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America. He described Iran as having once been the bully of the Middle East, but added, the bully is no longer. Trump concluded his address by praising the U.S. military's power, strength, and brilliance, and cast the operation as an investment in long-term security, saying that we would leave the U.S. safer, stronger, and more prosperous and greater than we ever had before. The whole world is watching and they cannot believe the power, strength, and brilliance, he said. We just can't believe they just can't believe what they're seeing. The brilliance of the United States military. And then this other one, Trump urges perspective on Iran conflict, compares timeline to U.S. past wars. I don't know if you know this, okay? But he gave a quick rundown on the length of previous conflicts, right? Because, this is day 32 in Iran. And people are like, we've been at it too long. We got to stop right now. We're sucked into an everlasting war. Okay, get over it. President Donald Trump on Wednesday urged Americans to keep the timeline of the ongoing conflict in Iran in perspective, noting that prior wars lasted much longer. It is very important to keep this conflict in perspective, he said. The American involvement in World War I lasted 1 year, 7 months, and 5 days. World War II lasted 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days. And that's the U.S. part of it, right? And then because in Europe, it started 2 years prior to that. And in Asia, it started 2 years prior to that in 1937. Trump continued that the Korean War lasted more than 3 years, the Iraq War lasted more than 8 years, and Vietnam lasted more than 19 years. And he didn't mention Afghanistan, because Afghanistan lasted just at 20 years, like 10 days prior to 20 years. And then in comparison, the president said that the current conflict with Iran has lasted 32 days, describing the military operation as so powerful and so brilliant. Iran, he added, has been eviscerated and is essentially no longer a threat. Okay? So what do y'all think about that? All right? Man. And then I just read, since we got we got a minute left here. Hold on just a second. Give me a second here. There. I gotta get ready for a raid. Raid? All right, so I'm ready for the raid. So I'll do it in just a minute. It says President Trump declared that Iran is essentially no longer a threat after a 32-day U.S. military campaign, telling Americans in a primetime address Wednesday that the country has been eviscerated following weeks of strikes. Even so, Trump said the U.S. is preparing additional attacks in the coming weeks. Even as diplomatic discussions continue, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of military objectives shortly. Very shortly, we're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. Trump said we are going to bring them back to the Stone Age where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. I'll put it to you like this. I firmly agree with the president on that. I wouldn't just take him to the Stone Age. I'd take him back to the Jurassic Age. There's no call for what they've done for the last 47 years to Americans and the civilized countries around the world. They've kept us at our knees. We are standing strong and we're going to defeat them. All right? Turn that desert to glass. All right. With that being said, thank y'all for tuning in this morning with the morning brief. I am not planning to do anything tomorrow on Good Friday unless uh, something epic happens, right? But tomorrow's Good Friday. That was the day that Christ was crucified. So we're gonna get prepared for the Easter holiday, Resurrection Sunday. So I will see everybody on the morning report come the morning brief come Monday. All right. So I'm gonna um, I'm gonna raid over to Vince right now. Y'all have a great weekend. The raid has been initiated.